Hello, welcome to day 28. Kind of an interesting multiple choice problem with our implicit that I wanted to look at. Take a look at this thing. Go ahead and copy it down into your notes. It says y squared plus 8xy equals negative 16. What is the slope of the tangent line to the curve at x equals 1? Now on the surface, this looks like a pretty standard problem. Right? We're looking for slope of tangent line, so obviously we need derivative. So we're going to find dy dx and then plug in x equals 1. Problem is we're used to plugging in on these implicits. They usually give us both x and y. They only give us an x value here. So we need to think about that. And here's the thing, maybe dy dx will only be in terms of x and we don't have to worry about it. But let's take a look at this, and why don't you just wrestle with this a little bit. Pause the video, give it a try, and if you get stuck, unpause it, and we'll talk about how to do it. Okay, so here's what I would do on this problem first. When x is 1, I'm not sure what y would be. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to find dy dx and see if I even need a y value. Maybe I won't. So here's what I get. First thing I want to do here is go ahead and get an expression for dy dx. So going through here, I'm going to start with the derivative of y squared, which would be 2y dy dx. Remember, every time we do derivative of y, we multiply dy dx in there. I'm going to need a product rule for this. So I'm going to do the derivative plus the derivative of the first times the second, plus the first times the derivative of the second. And that is going to equal the derivative of negative 16, which is 0. Solving for dy dx now, I'm going to subtract 8y to the other side, and I'll get 2y dy dx plus 8x dy dx equals negative 8y. Next, I'm going to factor out my dy dx. And I got 2y plus 8x equals negative 8y. And then I'm going to divide that thing over and simplify. Simplifying here, what can I do? What can be reduced here? Well, it'd be nice if I could cancel my y's since I don't have y. I can't do that, however, because I don't have a y in all three terms. All I can do here is divide by 2, and I'm going to call this negative 4y over y plus 4x. So that's a simplification I can do. But unfortunately, I'm going to really need to know why. So what can I do here? Well, a lot of times when people take the AP test, they come across a problem like this where there's some wrinkle that we haven't seen before. Oh, we haven't done a problem like this. What the heck can we do? Well, think back to other problems. When I asked you to write tangent line equations, right, and we needed a point and a slope, if I gave you the point, I usually only gave you the x part of the point. What did we do to find the y part of the point? Well, we plugged into the original equation. So let's see if we can do that here and see what happens. Okay, unfortunately, I have to know the y value if I want to solve this thing. So let's go back to our original equation here. And I want to see what happens when I plug in 1 for x. So here's what happens. I get y squared plus 8 times 1 times y equals negative 16. Simplifying this down a little bit, I end up with y squared plus 8y equals negative 16. So I have to solve this thing to figure out what y is. Well, if we notice, this is just a quadratic, right? How do we solve quadratics when we have a y squared term, a y, and a constant? Well, we always set it equal to 0. Watch what happens. I'll just set this thing equal to 0. Now I can use RS method. What two numbers multiply to 16 but add to 8? Well, that would be 4 and 4. So I know this thing is just going to factor into y plus 4 and y plus 4. So what happens here is I end up with two answers, right? Or it looks, usually when we get quadratics, we get two answers here, but it's the same answer. We get an answer of y equals -4. It's important that we only ended up with one answer here because oftentimes with these implicit ones, one x value can give you multiple different y values, and we wouldn't know which one to use. But here, one x value gives you one y value. So now I can go back to my derivative and say dy dx. Now I know I want to evaluate this thing at the point 1, -4. So let's take a look. I got -4y over y plus 4x. So -4 times y, which would be -4, right? Over y, which is -4, plus 4x. So instead of 4x, it would be 4 times 1. So on the top of the equation here, I end up with a +16. And on the bottom, I end up with -4 plus 4. Uh-oh. I get 16 over 0 as an answer. Well, let's go back to the choices. My choices were -4, -4/5, 4/5, 8, and undefined. Well, I know that anytime I take a number and divide by 0, that is undefined, so the correct answer choice here is E, undefined. That's it for today. I just wanted to show you that kind of cool problem. Have a great weekend. 2 chains.